Alright, YouTube, so welcome to another story time with David. If you remember last time, we talked about this girl who works at this local restaurant down the road from where I live. Well, this is a somewhat similar story. It has to do with the actual owners of that restaurant, and a story I heard recently. It has to do with their family. The guy who owns that restaurant has a couple of daughters. I don't know if they're actually his, if they're his by marriage, but there's him, his wife, and his 3 or 4 daughters. I don't remember how many there actually are. Well, one of them is pretty young. She's 15 years old, and he found out here recently that she's been sneaking out and hanging out with this 19-year-old guy, which is more or less a man, I guess. Once you're 18, you're an adult, and she's 15 years old. So that situation's pretty terrible. And he, of course, he's pissed off. He's the fucking dad. Who wouldn't want to beat that guy's ass in that situation? Well, he's, I guess, threatened to call the cops, obviously, and try to put the statutory rape charges and all that shit on this guy. Well, it turns out that the mother of this daughter, the wife, knew about this whole situation and didn't really care. Was okay with it, I guess, which is fucking crazy to me. There's no way I'd be okay with that. And the dad wanted to press charges, of course, and the mother, hear me out on this shit, threatened that if the dad were to call the cops on this guy and try to get this guy in trouble, that the daughters, I don't know how many, all of them, maybe just a few of them, are going to tell the police that the dad has been molesting them. What the fuck kind of scenario is this? This shit is wild, man. It's some shit you don't even, that's something you see, I don't even know, some crazy talk show. It's shit that doesn't actually happen. And how would the daughters agree to this shit? It's a fucked up situation because the dad's completely in the right. The chick's 15 years old. This is illegal. The age of consent, I don't even think it gets below 16 in the United States. In Oklahoma, for sure, it's 16 or 17 is legal age of consent where you can consensually have sex with an adult. Well, she's 15 years old, so that's all gone. There's no legal age consent there, so it is illegal for him to be hanging out and having sex with this 15-year-old girl. I'm assuming they're having sex, because they're together in a relationship. But it's a no-win situation, because either the dad has to allow this guy to keep plowing his daughter, or he tries to pursue this, and then he's going to get slapped with molestation charges of his own children. And the thing here is, it's going to be his word versus, the wife and however many of the daughters are going to say this. So, it's one word versus the word of, 3 or 4 people. He's going to lose that, and he will be slapped with that. And that'll ruin the rest of his fucking life, dude. If you get slapped with, any kind of pedophile charges or anything like that, sexual, any kind of sexual charges, that shit follows you for the rest of your life, man. And, if he goes to jail for something like this, obviously we know what happens to, rapists and shit like that in jail. He's gonna get the shit beat out of him, possibly killed. And I don't know, man, this is a crazy situation. What do you do if you're in his shoes? I mean, I don't even know how you prove your innocence in this situation. If you got this many people coming out and saying, hey, he did this to us, he's been doing this to us for all our life, or whatever they're going to say, there's no way to, prove one or the other, but with that many people saying that you're guilty of it, you kind of automatically go down, I guess. I don't know if there's a way to prove it or not. I don't know if he can, go to the cops ahead of time and be like, yo, I'm trying to report this guy for, banging my daughter. He's 19, she's 15, and they're threatening me with charges of, molestation and shit. And I don't know how to get out of the scenario. Maybe there's a way he can get out of this without getting in trouble, but it's fucked up, dude. He can't even, protect his daughter because she shouldn't be hanging out with guys that old. The mom's okay with it, which is a fucked up situation, too. The wife, I don't even think I'd want to be any part of that. I'd be getting rid of that wife. I'd be distancing myself from those daughters because why even pursue that if it's gonna, ruin your fucking life, dude? If you're trying to look out for your children, look out for your daughter, and she's like, well, if you do anything to my boyfriend, well, you molested me, I'm gonna tell everybody that. And it's I don't even know, it's mind-boggling, dude. I just don't understand. It's such a crazy fucking story I just heard, yesterday. It kind of reminds me of that, the women that, falsely accuse guys of rape, and then, the repercussions when they get caught and you realize that, no rape happened. There's not really a whole lot. I think it is illegal, but there's not actually, jail time, or at least not hard jail time for such a scenario. And it's it's gotta be the same here, I imagine, because it's, it's molestation and rape are more or less the same thing. So, what are the repercussions if these people get caught? Because they all deserve some fucking time. And maybe he actually did it. I don't know. I'm not gonna, I'm defending the guy, and maybe he is guilty of this shit, and they're just letting him know, we haven't gone to the cops about this before, and if you try to do this, we are going to go to the cops about it. I don't know. He could be that kind of guy. I don't know him that much. I have, he's been around my family for a little bit. My grandma's friends with him. She's friends with everybody in the state of Oklahoma, pretty much. And he seems like a pretty cool guy. I've done some yard work and shit for him here and there, because he's kind of an overweight guy and kind of out of shape. Bad back and all that shit. Pretty cool guy from what I've seen, but he could be guilty of these things. But I'm assuming he's not because he's telling everybody the story. I don't know, guys. It's just one of those things. This is like the second time we've done a story on the channel, and it's another dark story. Possibly, I don't even want to say it's darker than the last one. It's probably just on par with a different subject. But I think it's interesting. Even though there's such dark and bad stories, they're interesting to talk about. Let me know what you think of this shit below. It's fucking crazy. True story. If you want to enjoy the video, guys, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Follow me on Twitter. Links to my social networks are in the description and the outro. Later.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake, 'cause I don't fucking care.